So you just bought a beginner, cheap, budget-friendly guitar. And that could be because you're a beginner, it could be because you're coming from acoustic guitar to electric guitar, or you might be a little bit like me. While I have all of my prized possession guitars right next to me, they're all in cases. I take really good care of my super expensive guitars. I always wipe them down. I put them away before I sleep for the night. But I always like to have just one guitar that I don't have to care so much for. And it's why I'll just go out and get a beginner guitar and I'll modify it. For example, this guitar right here is from Elixir Pro. I think it's about $159 USD. And right off the bat, when I got it out of the box, I noticed a few things. First of all, non-locking tuners. I'm sorry, I'm an addict. I have a locking tuner problem. I admit it. But outside of that, the fretboard looked like it sat out in the Sahara Desert for 804 days. It's dry. And also, when you're talking about cheaper, budget-friendly guitars, a lot of corners are cut, not bad corners, but things that don't really require a lot of care, such as fret polishing. So I was able to notice right off the bat that the frets just really needed a good polishing to really bring themselves out. So today we do just that. We change the tuners to locking tuners, and we clean up this fretboard, and we change out those factory strings, which are terrible mostly, from every guitar manufacturer. And we put some new bad boys on, and we really let this thing live the life it's supposed to live. So let's do it. In order to achieve the unachievable, it's actually quite achievable. But in order to do this, I'll be relying on a few products that I know, like, and love. First of all, the Music Nomad Tool Kit. I love this thing. We're also going to update the tuners and give them an upgrade with Hipshot products, which I am an addict of Hipshot. They're so easy, it requires minimal modification to the guitar, and it adds such a wonderful difference. We'll be using Music Nomad fret polishing kits. We'll be using Music Nomad. If you can't tell, I like Music Nomad. We'll be using their oil as well for the fretboard. And I'll be changing the strings to my favorite strings, Elixir Nano Webs. This came with 9s on it, and I actually really like to play on 9-gauge strings. So it just worked really well to put Nano Web Elixir 9-gauge right on it. So let's get this sucker set up on the desk and get moving. So once we remove the old tuners, it's just a quick cleanup, and something I really, really love about Hipshot is how simple they make the process of putting new tuners in the guitar. So once we start here, it's as simple as grabbing the guides that Hipshot gives you, and you simply lay them in the proper order, exactly as stated in the instructions, and that holds all of your tuners in place and in line without additional drilling or modification. Because now, once we snap in the actual tuner, we can see that it follows the guide and the pathway that they give you, and it won't move out of position. And you simply repeat the process with all of the tuning pegs that they give you here, as stated. Some are staggered, some are not staggered. These are unstaggered, so I could really pop them anywhere I need to. And from there, you just simply put the screw on the other side, put it on, tighten it across the board with your hands, and then you need to flip the guitar over once that process is done and once you've kind of secured them lightly on this side. And then I just use that Music Nomad tool to tighten, but just be careful. Don't over tighten in the process. You can see that I'm going through and just giving it small tightening. And from there, you can see they're installed. Done. Easy. That's why I love Hipshot so much. Now, for the fret polish, it comes with these wonderful guides for your actual frets. You need to make sure you cover the fretboard so you don't damage the wood on the fretboard itself. And you just rub the polish over top, back and forth, up and down until it looks nice and polished. And once you're done there, you simply use that same cloth and you buff out any of the excess, and you will see that it's as simple as that. So we go down the entire length of the fretboard by doing that one step at a time. It's a very quick, easy process, and it makes a huge impact. From there, this thing was so dry that I just decided to put the oil directly on the fretboard and rub it in. It actually took 2 sessions of oil to get to the point that I needed it to get. But you could see that you don't want to use too much. You want to make sure that it soaks into the guitar. You don't have this massive pool of oil happening once you're done with that. Hope you enjoyed the guitar peel ASMR. Once I'm done there, I just take some guitar cleaner and polish, and I make sure I take care of the body. And it's time to string the guitar easily now because we have the locking tuners using Elixir NanoWeb 9 gauge across the board, just simply feeding them in, pulling them through, tightening, and snipping the ends. It's literally that easy once you have the locking tuners in place, and it's why I use Hipshot locking tuners on any guitar that does not already come with factory installed locking tuners. You'll also notice that I had to use a trem block here because we do have a floating tremolo on this guitar, which is kind of rare for a beginner guitar, but it really helps to make sure that your springs stay in place consistently. So I highly recommend a trem block if you don't have one for those floating tremolo guitars. But once we're done here, you can see I'm on the last string. I'm able to feed that through, and already you can tell after I do a final tightening that the guitar has new tuners, looks beautiful as far as frets and the oil on the fretboard. And just like that, in literally less than an hour, I have modified this guitar to extreme levels of comfort. First of all, it's way easier to change the strings. Second, the strings move so effortlessly on the fretboard now that we've polished the frets and oiled the fretboard itself. I'll be doing plenty more videos utilizing this guitar now that I have it set up, and I'll let you know exactly what I think about this as a potential beginner guitar. Until then, make sure you subscribe and leave any comments with questions or tips. You know, things like what are your favorite go-to tuners for modifications? And until next time, I'll see you soon.